Hey folks, we're about to ready to get started. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. I see you there, PCS and David. Thanks for jumping in early. We're gonna get started in just a minute. The music just changed. And there we go. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Josh. This is the Gaming Joy channel, and we are on our 80s survival series on Pure Embarrass. And we're kind of back where we were. I finished harvesting that sugarcane, finished cleaning up, picking up the grass, and I planted and seeded. You can already see the courses there. Let's just clear that course out of here. And we already seeded our next crop in that field. Just gonna do a little bit more wheat. But welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being here. And I can see, nice. Luke found the custom emoji, the one custom emoji. I need to make more of those. I just haven't had a chance. But welcome in. Thank you for being here, PCS, David, Luke, and anyone else who's joining in, who's hiding in the background. Welcome. Today, we're going to keep making money hand over fist because we've only got 2 more weeks left in this series. I don't know. We'll probably keep the series going a little bit after, just for fun, but our Tuesdays are going to be taken over by FS25 because I believe... Is that right? Can someone check? Is FS25 coming out on a Tuesday? Like, you know, the day that I stream? Is that actually what's happening? Kegarino, welcome in, Casey. Thanks for being here. Welcome in. And we need to make sure that our sell point is working. So it is coming out on Tuesday. That. Maybe I'll have to do like a longer stream on Tuesday. I was actually considering doing something silly. Crazy, but silly. And like modding from day one. Doing live modding the first day. So everyone can like see what the process is and how I mod things. I think that would be fun. Everyone else is going to be like, oh, shiny, oh, shiny. I'm going to be like, okay, how can I fix it? That's just how I look at it. Anyways, so today the goal was, and we talked about this last time, the goal was... this guy's, what's he doing? Oh. Well, he stopped in the right place. It would help if I turned it on, huh? Alright. This guy should go back to making money. Alright. So the goal here... Is this tractor tabbable? It is. Alright. First of all, we're going to save. Gotta save. Alright, just in case. I don't have to do all this stuff over. So what we're going to do today is this whole field, we're going to turn this whole field into a massive coffee plantation. Right? Now, there's no real reason. Like, there's nothing, like, in the game. I'm going to spend some time smoothing while we're here. The game doesn't care what direction the vines go. And I think that that's both a good and a bad thing, right? It doesn't care, but it also means it's really hard to get straight lines. Now, just like they added for vines. Remember how horrible vines were? Like the grapes and olives were when they first came out? It was terrible. You couldn't get them to strap to, you couldn't, there was no snapping initially. And so you couldn't like get things in straight lines. I mean, you get them in straight lines because it only works in straight lines, but you couldn't like get them with even spacing. Now at least they fixed the spacing. But they haven't, the one thing they haven't fixed is drawing straight lines. Now, what I mean by straight lines, it's not a straight, but north, south, east, west. And the reason you want north, south, east, west is so that when you're using a worker, you can snap them to that direction. So whether you're using courseplay or some kind of GPS type thing, you want a direction to snap it in. So this field here, if you look, right? If I look, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually set our line. We're going to use the tire tracks to set our line. This is like, I just thought of this just now. It's going to be genius. So we're going to set our line in the middle of the field, right? And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to hit space. Nope. Space. So this is going to be my straight line, all right? A ruler, tool, and paint would be nice. It would be. So now if I drive forward, using my tractor, this is a perfectly straight line, right? Because I'm using GPS, I know it's a perfectly straight line. And I'm going to draw a line maybe up to about here. That looks good. Okay. So then we're going to leave the tractor there. We'll probably go a little bit further. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Now this only works on PC, and I'm sorry for console people, but this only works PC. So I've created a perfectly straight line, right? Look at that. Perfectly straight line. Now I can use that perfectly straight line to draw my first straight line. So I'm going to leave a good distance on the outside and kind of like just follow the curve of the land, but give myself enough room to turn around on the ends. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here to production, go to orchards, and we're going to draw our first vine. And we're going to leave about that much space. We can always mow the outside. And then we're going to come over here to where I left the tractor. I'm trying to stop at a nice round number. Oh, look at that. $7,800. That looks good. And so we don't know for the fact that this line, I'm going to place it. I don't know that this line is straight or not. It might be straight. It might not. I don't know. It's as straight as I can get it using the tire track, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and hit save. All right. I'm going to quit the game. Now here's the fun part. Now this is the way I think, and this is the way I think no one else thinks, but I think that way because I'm crazy. If we look at our placeables here, the last thing in the placeables is now that one vine. Good job, vine. You placed a single vine. And so if we look at this vine based on math, we know that it's really long. So, but we want it to be perfectly straight. Let's see how this says 398.8 and this says 399.1. That means that the start and the end point are not on the same x-axis. Let's pretend this is just x and y. It's basically the way the vines work. It's just x and y, no z, or x and z depending on how you look at it. So all they have to do is be the same number. So let's just make them the same number. 399.0. Copy. 399.0. And boom! Our line is perfectly straight. And then just to make things easier for us a little bit, we're going to make these both look the same. So I'm going to make it 0.5 and 0.5. And so hit save. Then we're going to load back into the game. And so what this is going to do is I've made this exactly... what's the difference there? Oh, it's an easy number, 68 and 48. That's exactly 120 meters long. Good to know. And it's on this axis, the x-axis. So we come in here, go back and start our game again. We're logging the game. And then what we're doing is we're starting with a perfectly, wonderfully straight line. And then we're going to use that straight line for everything else, because everything can be based off of that one straight line. So come in here, load our game, start. And the ridging machine for root crops? That's a pretty good idea. That's a good idea for spacing markers. I remember there was lots of weird things you could do when it first came out. And some of it worked. Don't get me wrong. Some of it worked. Not everything worked, but some of it worked. And it was really cool to see everyone's like, oh, I want to play with grapes, and I want to play with olives, and I want to try to figure it out, but it just wasn't working. And then Giants released an update. I think it was like the 1.1 update or 1.2 maybe. And then they added snapping. And the snapping, and I'll show you how it works. The snapping is really cool, and it works, but it's designed to space apart at a 3-meter interval. And that 3-meter interval is really critical. We'll talk more about it as we get into placing some grapes. But basically today we're just going to place as many, not grapes, coffee vines as we can in this massive plot of land. So I'm spawning back into my house. Turning off auto drive. And now we are, so see, you can't even really tell that the line shifted. It almost looks exactly the way I had it, but it shifted ever so slightly. And that's all we need. So now I'm going to come back in. I'm going to come here, go to construction, production, orchards, coffee. And so now all I have to do is place. Now, if I want to place if I place a new vine, I just click out here, it's going to let me place a new vine. But see how it's like letting me do any angle I want? That means it's not going to line up with these. But if I come in here and I click inside, like the space, see how it just goes from green to white? See that? If I click in the green area where it's still green, it's going to automatically snap at that next 3-meter width. Right, so I'm gonna come up here. $7,800 for one set of vines. So I'm gonna click here inside the green, and now everything's gonna be perfectly straight. And the best part is, if I tab back over to my save game file, and I open it. Actually, let's save once. So we're gonna save. Right? And now if you look at the save game file, you come down to the last one, look what it's doing. 399, 402, 402, 405, 405. Everything's in perfect alignment. It's not using these 16-digit numbers for positioning. It's just super simple. It's exactly the way I want it, which makes it nice and straight, which is all that matters for me. So now we can go ahead and just plant the rest of our plantation and do whatever we want. So let's think. What are we going to do? We should do like sections. I feel like we want to have a road up the middle maybe, and then a road up this way like they do for real vineyards. So I want a road up the middle here. I'm going to do this side first. So I'm going to decide how. I mean, we're just planting whatever we want, right? Okay. Click here. I think we're going to put a road in where the tractor is. And that's all there is to it. And now we're planting coffee. So we're going to make our coffee plantation here. We're going to spend lots of money. And since we're spending money, we should probably go back over to the lime mine and get that guy running again, because he's probably stopped because I quit and saved. Let's do that real quick. So go over here, go into the map, go here, enter, get him going. Sell your lime. And then he's going to keep filling up with lime. And we're going to keep going. And then because we put our tractor... But look at this. I only did that section there. And like, we have this whole rest of the space to do. So we have plenty of space. Plenty of space for more games. Back into our construction menu and place some more coffee grinds. Now, coffee, kind of like, if you guys haven't done coffee before, it works pretty much the same as the rest of them. Coffee requires harvesting. And it also requires other stuff to happen to like take care of your fields. Now with coffee beans, the only thing that's required is fertilization and cultivating. So you have to cultivate in between the rows, in between harvests. It's just kind of one of the requirements, right? That's not what I wanted. So I didn't want it to stop there. So I'm going to actually undo it because you can't undo very easily in this. Can't add just another vine and have it be connected. I want it to be connected. So I'm going to undo that one and just redo it. So now, since we're kind of going up there around the corner, I probably should have done this earlier. We're going to start working with this corner. We're going to start here. Start going against the curve of the field. We're going to keep this center line pretty tidy. Hey Rusty, welcome in. We are placing coffee beans, kind of like all the rest of your orchard stuff. And I think this is gonna be the last row we do on this side because we're getting pretty close to the border here. There we go. And we're gonna start up here. Get some short rows in here just to kind of fill out the field. Okay. Now, if we want to keep this perfectly spaced, we want to keep everything perfectly spaced and perfectly aligned, we're going to actually use the money, and we're going to lose some money because you don't get all back. Let's actually see. 7,800. Do 2 wide. So I just spent almost 15 grand. Do one more. And then we're going to demolish. So if I come in here and I do demolish, this is going to be my road up the middle. And that also makes the next line perfectly lined up with this line. All right. And so through a little bit of creative... Damn it. Now I have to redo it. Through a little bit of creative editing and lining stuff up. Like, so now I have to delete this, but if I delete it, I won't have the straight line anymore. So I need a straight line to go off of. So now, since I messed it up, we're going to demolish this one. Note to self, demolish looking at it in this direction. Not the other direction. And I could actually probably line these up with just a few instead of the whole row. That would have been smart. But I'm not always smart, so all you need is like 2 or 3 vines to get it lined up. Nope. Start clicking the green, and now it's perfectly lined up. And that one will be perfectly lined up with the rest of them. So that's good. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep going. We've spent over 100 grand so far. Lord. There. We're going to start going a little shorter to go with the curve of the land. As long as that first click is in the green, you're in the green. You just have to be in the green and it'll lock into the next row. This is costing me a pretty penny. I don't think we're actually going to be able to do this whole thing today. Probably only get part of it. What do we find when the world ain't perfect? Thanks, BCS. I might have to delete some of these vines. We're getting really close to the outside border. I think I'm just going to keep going until I run out of money. If I can get half of the plantation up this time, I'll be happy. I don't think I've ever placed this many vines before. You guys haven't seen it, but on the Alone in the World series, I also placed a ton of vines for that part of the challenge. But I never actually published those videos, so no one's ever seen it. So the other problem with coffee, and the other problem with the fact that we're doing an 80s challenge, and believe me, I didn't forget, is that the default coffee harvester is the Jatco. That's the default coffee harvester that's on this map. And on ModHub and any other site, the Jatco is the only harvester. Okay, so look at all of those vines we placed. Looks pretty cool. If we look at our map, you can see where we placed them. Yeah, so PCS, to answer that question, let me keep going with, because I still have some more money. You have to take care of it sort of the same way. Right? But not completely the same way. Very close, but not the same. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to keep our center line going. And again, we're going back to how the game uses the orchards, and we want another row over here, but we want the next row completely lined up and perfectly straight. So what we're going to do is click on here, and click here at the end of the row, and we're going to go across like this. That means this row is perfectly lined up with those rows. And then we're going to come over here and about there, maybe? Nope. As long as I click on the green. That's a little bit wide. Nope. You have to click on the green or it won't work. Oh, you know what? I'm going to give myself extra space for turning around. I think I'm colliding with myself. Yeah, I'm totally colliding with myself. That was silly. You'll see the method to my madness in just a second. Hey, Tennessee Farmer, welcome in. All right. And we're not going to be able to plant this whole orchard because we still are running very low on money. but we'll plant a lot of it. Production, orchards, coffee. We want it to go about here. Yeah, that looks fine. Now this line is actually perfectly straight compared to the rest. And the only problem with this field is it dips off really bad. And I think we're probably not going to go down here on the dip too far because it's a steep hill. So that's going to be the rest of my coffee plantation. And then we come in here, demolish. And now this space right here down the middle becomes my dirt road. Too big. And how I get to and from the field. Nice. Hey, Rank, how are you doing? Welcome in, or Outlaw, I should say. Outlaw, if you are looking for tutorials on Blender, I'm not the person to look to. I have no idea how to use Blender. But Bauer Brown is a really great resource for the FarmSim community on Blender. He has some wonderful tutorials on modding and Blender and how to use Blender for modding. I would highly, highly recommend you check him out. Now, part of the reason I did such a wide swath here is our vehicle for harvesting is... It kind of has a big turning radius. We'll talk about that in a minute. Oh, sorry, we should go this way too. Construction. Actually, let me move again, because I'm always in the way. Actually, let's move the tractor. That road down the middle seems really wide, but I think I'm gonna leave it. Alright, let's paint the road going the other way, the crossroad. Now the reason I didn't do just rows all the way across the darn field is because when you're harvesting, eventually you're gonna get full. And you need to empty out. And if you're full in the middle of a row, then you have to go all the way to the end of the row and then turn around. It's much easier if you can plan and have a place to exit the row in the middle. Or at least that's what I've found with doing stuff like grapes. Bauer Brown, that's right. Thank you. So we go back to construction, and we can plant some more on this side of the field, except we're doing $12,000 a row now. So it's going to be a little bit expensive. We don't seem to be making money right now. So we're only going to be able to place like 12 rows. Click here in the green. Now you could place them like starting at one end and going back to the other, but I like the consistency of if I ever have to look at the XML, the strings are always going one direction and not multi-directional. Like not going back and forth. I made that mistake on on the Middleburg playthrough. When I used this exact same trick to redo all of the orchards on Middleburg, which were off by like a degree. So course play wouldn't work. And guide and steering wouldn't work. All because it was just barely off. One more, I guess. And then we're going to go check our lime machine and see how it's doing. But look at that. There we go. We've got one hell of a coffee plantation started. It's our coffee plantation. It's going to be great. Let's check this guy and find out why he's not moving. Really? Really? Look at him. He's like, oh yeah, I was gonna work, but it's in my way. All I do is turn it on. There you go. So he's now at least gonna be making some money for us. So how's everyone doing? We do have to get some more equipment. Luckily, coffee in this game works the same way that olives do, where you don't have to do as much work. Olives are less work than grapes. With grapes, you have to mulch, you have to cultivate, you have to fertilize, and then you have to trim them. But coffee is just cultivate. So the only thing we need is a cultivator. So let's get a cultivator right now. I have one picked out, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. I did a bunch of testing on this. And I was looking around for a cultivator that will work with the grapes. And truthfully, I don't remember which one it is. It's not that one. Well, that stinks. I totally thought I remembered which one it was. And now I can't find it. That's classic. That's like a perfect me. I think it's this one. Yes, it's this one. Okay, here we go. If I can turn it New Holland green, it's gonna be the right one. There we go. And that. Perfect. I'm gonna leave the distance black, but I'm gonna go out to not 2.4. I think this is it. I'm not sure. But we don't need to cultivate till next time, so we'll either have to log off. You know what I can do? Actually, let's just check the save game. Wait, do I still have the save game? No, I think it deleted it. Well, it's either that one or it's not. It's either that one or... Is there one in here that I'm just missing? You know, it might be this one. No. If I can't color it, it's not the right one, because I know I made it colorable. It's gotta be... Yeah, it's gotta be the Disco Soul. This thing is meant for trimming. It's annoying. This one, I believe it's a 20 disc one. Actually, no, it's not. It's this one. Column blue. Hi. 12 grand. It costs the same as like one full row. Basically, it's this thing. Right? It's not that big. I think I can pick it up with this tractor. And I don't think it's going to do anything yet. So let's find out. We might need to disc the first day, but I really don't think we need to disc until the second day. So let's find out. And I did mess with the work with, so... Now, is that show cultivated? There's a thing here to show it. No, I don't think this is it. Again, I'll have to... I think we might have to wait for it to grow once. So let's do that. We'll wait for it to grow once. We've got money coming in with our lime. Let's keep placing our vines, see if we can get the rest of the field done. And see what else we can do. But the goal here is just to place the rest of these orchards. Now, we also don't want to place another orchard because we want them on the same growth cycle. So we can't place the next orchard, the rest of this other quadrant, until we harvest this one. All right, so we got another 10 rows or so. Let's look and see what I did. You guys want to look? Let's look real quick. And then that was this one. No, I didn't change this one. Did I? I can't remember which one I edited. I edited one to be the way I wanted it, and I've lost it. So that's always a bummer. Yeah, I didn't. This isn't edited. Whatever. But basically, all you have to do is cultivate in between the branches. But I think you have to wait until they grow weeds, and then you have to cultivate those weeds away. And so we have to wait for it to grow. And we're making money. We just made 9 grand, is that right? Is that all we're making over here at the other plant? Let's go check. This guy's doing his job. Enter vehicle. So we're basically just getting rid of all this lime. We're just going to sell it all and use it to fund our coffee plantation. Oh yeah, Luke, you can't stop the harvest mid-harvest and go to the next month. You have to harvest them all at once. It's a really big annoyance. But that's just how it is. Sorry, buddy. We're gonna have to take this guy and go get some fuel soon. We can fix that. There's a bump there. The animations on this truck are pretty awesome. But I don't know why it keeps opening the left side dump thing. Because it doesn't dump from the left, it dumps from the back. So I don't know why when it gets close to a dump point, it opens the left side. Like, watch this, it opens the left side. I don't get that. It's so weird. There we go. How much money do we make at a time? I think we're only making 9 grand at a time. So we're gonna have to wait quite a while before we can actually afford planting the rest of that field. Is it an unreasonable expectation? I don't know. We also can check our sugar plant. See if there's any money to be made there. Cane sugar. 17,000 liters stored. And is it a good time to sell cane sugar? 56 grand, that's quite a few. Let's turn this off. Tab over to our truck. This truck. Drop the dump bed. This thing looks really funny driving around without a bed on it. So we're starting to look at I'm starting to look at FS25. And one of the things I'm looking at is I don't know what map I'm gonna play. So if you guys are getting FS20, I'm gonna start a poll. Let's see what everyone else wants to do. Let's do a poll quick. Hold on, real quick. It's not the right keyboard. Hold on. What's the new map called? Hands high. I almost typed something really, really bad. Let me know what you guys think about FS25. Which map you feel like playing or you're looking forward to play in FS25? For me, sorry, the microphone was moved. For me, I think I'm actually looking forward to the Asian map much more than the American map. We've had hundreds of American maps, and I'm sure it's going to be a good map, but we've had hundreds of American maps. I'm really looking forward to that more, you know, Asian-inspired architecture and whatnot. Hey, Rusty, welcome in. Thanks for coming in. And Ray, welcome for coming. Thank you for coming in. I'm looking forward to something different, something new, something fresh. I know for a fact that I will not be playing Sri Lanka. Unless they release Sri Lanka as like a 4X map, I might look at it, but otherwise I'm probably not going to play it. The one thing I'm actually curious about, and this is just from like what I've seen everywhere else, is so they have this like, so all right, so here, this is a super technical talk, so be warned. So the new system for ground deformation, they've shown that you get ground deformation both in fields and on dirt roads. So I'm curious, and I don't know yet, if there's a new kind of road type that allows deformation, or if I paint in a road, will that painted road support deformation, right? And I don't know if you remember, but like on Sri right? The version that's out now, or the version that was released as part of the premium edition, for Sri you couldn't merge a bunch of the fields that were on Sri because they were made with this really weird, like, dirt road object thing. It was basically like a paved road that was the graphic of that paved road, like a asphalt road. The graphic of that asphalt road looked like a dirt road. It was a three-dimensional road, exactly. Thank you, Kegarino. It was three-dimensional, which means you can't paint across it, or you can't paint over it, and if you try to do ground changes, you would end up with like a floating layer of road floating in the air. It looks stupid. And that was one of the biggest downsides, I thought, with Silver Run Forest and with whatever that map was called, Sri Lanka. That was one of my biggest downsides with that map. One of the reasons I didn't really like the map very much was because they made that conscious decision to build the roads like that instead of like they are on this map, right? Where they're just dirt. They're just painted dirt, which means you can do any kind of ground movement or whatever. No holds barred. Do whatever you want. And it means that you can play the map however you want. But when you have a map that has those like 3D road object roads, you can't do that, which means that it's less customizable. And you know me, I like my maps customizable. I won't want to have to go into GE to do it. I'm willing to go into GE to do it, but I don't want to have to. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm wondering with this new ground deformation thing, how they're going to get that to work with 3D dirt roads. I personally think that they're not. Or rather, I don't think. I hope that they're not, and that they're making the ground deformation work on any ground that's painted. So if I paint the ground with a color or texture, right? Anything in this menu, or not anything, but any of like the dirt or grass or whatever textures, it'll allow ground deformation. So if I paint with cobblestone, cobblestone shouldn't allow ground deformation, which means somewhere in the XML, there's going to have to be a setting to say allows deformation or something like that. It's probably going to be a flag somewhere when you define your ground textures. That makes sense to me. And that kind of follows how Giants build stuff, in my mind. But without seeing the game yet, I don't know if it's going to be that way. So I can't call it and say, hey, this is what it's going to be like. I have to kind of wait for the game to come out. But for both maps, we've already seen, screenshot-wise at least, both maps have dirt roads. At a bare minimum, both maps have dirt roads. So that means that we're either going to get these kind of 3D roads, or we're going to get actual dirt roads that will take ground deformation and will take... you will be able to manipulate or merge fields across or get rid of or add or whatever, right? That's what I hope. But if they follow what they did for Silver Run and for Sri Lanka, they're going to use their 3D roads again, and it's going to suck. The biggest downside with the 3D roads is this map is a great proof, and I'll show you in a minute once I'm done selling off all this sugarcane, or cane sugar, whatever it's called. One of my favorite parts about this map is the roads, the dirt roads all over this map are great from my perspective, but they're also three-dimensional. And what I mean by that is the roads tilt on 3 axes. So the road is, so all of Giantess roads, if you look, they're all perfectly flat. They'll go up and down like this in the direction of travel, but they almost never go like this. They never tilt, right? Is my camera on? Can you see this? So they never tilt, and they don't never tilt and go uphill, right? And that effect is actually really awesome. And I think they're missing out by not having it. Come on. Sorry. Sorry for the super strength, but these pallets are being dumb. But I don't care. I'm not here to show you the right way to play the game. I'm here to show you my way of playing the game. If I have to use some super strength to fix some crap like this, I will. Alright, we're going to leave the rest of the pallets there. And that's probably all. I'm not going to go back for 3 pallets. But I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So we come in here and we drive up this hill, and if you look, the hill it's on an angle. It's tilted. Like the land is not flat where the road is. But if this was Giants, they wouldn't be able to do that because the way their 3D road textures work is as soon as you start tilting them or curving them, then the next piece won't line up because they're physical blocks, right? And so this kind of road, which feels very natural and feels very realistic, if you look at Silver Run, all of the dirt roads when you drive around, none of them are like this. All of them are perfectly flat, and you're going up. You might go uphill or downhill, but whenever you go uphill or downhill, you're always perfectly flat. And if you try to like change the ground around them, if you own the land, you can end up messing up the roads, just like you could on Elm Creek or any other place where there's a paved road. So one thing I hope, and again, it's a hope, I don't know yet, is that because they're doing the ground deformation, which they're all excited about, and you know, every content creator that got to go to that special content creator thing, you know, all did donuts in the fields and whoop-de-doo, because everyone's going to do donuts in fields. They got to test that out. But does that mean we're going to get stuff like this, where you have a road that isn't straight? You have a road that has ruts in it. You have a road that has bumps in it. And if I want a new bump in the road, I just come in here, go to the construction menu, and I think, oh, right here on this spot, I want a bump. So I'm going to come into landscaping, sculpting, I'm going to go down like that, press down, and then I'm going to paint in a little bit of mud. And I have just created, I messed up the grass too, so I'm going to put it back. No, where's the grass? Grass. Now I've created a bump in the road, right? A divot. See that? Like the car goes down into the divot. To me, that feels like a real road. But Giants roads are all perfectly flat. Like this little puddle, whatever, you'd never see on a Giants map because they don't support it in the way that they build roads, unless it's just a painted road like the ones here. But when they start doing their fancy 3D road texture roads, number one, it's a repeated pattern. You notice it eventually repeats. So all your roads look same.com. And you know, it's less exciting. Thanks for being here, Luke. I'll see you later. Dinner time. I'm going to be around for another hour or so. So you come back, I'll still be here planting more coffee. So we made enough money to hopefully plant a little bit more. And then maybe we can go to the next day and see what happens. Because I don't know if I'm going to have to cultivate or what tool I'm going to have to use. I have another tool, and maybe that's the one I intended on using. The only thing is I don't know if I think I'm just going to bypass the fact that it wasn't made in the 80s. But I'm not sure. I only really want to finish this one. I'm not going to try to do the other side of the field too, because then we'd have to wait for all of that lime to sell. And I want to move on to the next day, because we're still in the same day as the last stream. We're just later in that day. Okay. I have enough for this last one. That's it. Don't have enough money for more. Look at that. To line up with this one and to actually go to the edge of the field, we'd have to do like 4 more rows. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think that's pretty substantial. You did good. Let's look at. I'm gonna look at my store. I'm gonna look at see because I know there's a. I'm trying to find. Was it this? No. It's a regular disc arrow. Where is it? I deleted my testing save, I think. So I don't even know. And of course, I can't exit out to check it because then I would have to restart the guy who's selling stuff. See, I could have sworn it was in this vineyard pack. Was it this? No, because then I know I made it colorable. It's not that one. Yeah, it's got to be this pack up here. I just don't remember which one I edited, but obviously the edited version's not on here. These ones are pretty cool, though. Cultivator. These all have color selection. And you can go like this. Yeah. Make it longer, wider, whatever. I like the discs. Honestly, I like the disc one. So anyways, what I'm trying to do, and this doesn't make any sense. So one of the most annoying things to me about cultivating vines is that there's a 3-meter space between the vines. And most people just cultivate the 3-meter space. But I want to be able to run down that 3-meter space and actually get right up to the edges of the vines. But if I use a wider cultivator, it'll get stuck on the vines. It'll bump off them and it'll constantly get stuck. It's super annoying. But to me, that means that my OCD kicks in and I can't actually cultivate everything that I want to cultivate. So that bothers me. Right? So it's like, come on. Are you just sitting here again? You are. Every once in a while, this thing shuts off. I'm gonna move it over here. Start getting this mess. I think I can do this without changing my course. Good job, dude. How's the vote going? 75% of you want to do Riverbend Springs. Interesting. I can't vote because I made the poll. Darn. That's surprising. So, yeah, I mean, I think Pegarino had a good point in that if you live in the U.S. and you're a content creator, you're probably going to want to do the U.S. map because that's where you're going to get the most views, the most likes, the most yada, yada, yada. Whatever. But if you're, you know, and then not as many people will play the Asian map because not as many people are crazy like me and care about that stuff. But, I mean, we did our honeymoon in Japan, like, for, like, 2 weeks. I want to go back. Like, I love that side of the world, so I definitely want to experience what farming can be like there, right? Hey, Ronnie, welcome in. Thanks for being here. So maybe I'll do, like, I don't know. I don't want to sign myself up for too much, but maybe I'll live stream on Huten Puntai, Pentai, Huten Pentai, is that right? And then I'll, like, do a series on Riverbend Springs or something. I don't even know what I'm going to do for content. In all honesty, I really actually want to just... I kind of secretly want to start playing FS25 on a converted map. And I want to convert a map that came out recently into FS25 with no changes, just so I can play it in FS25, right? Like, I kind of want to do that, sort of, in a weird way. Like, just to do something different. But I know everyone's going to want to see those maps, so. And I know Rusty, that's a good call, Rusty. I'm with you. I don't care for Elm Creek either. I started playing on Elm Creek a couple times. One multiplayer, one single player, and I just couldn't get into it. I didn't like how the map was laid out. I didn't like how the sell points were on the corners of the map. We'll see about Riverbend. I don't know. We'll see. In all honesty, So one of the features that I've been talking about, and you guys have been here for a long time, anyone who's been here for a while has known, is I've been complaining and bitching and moaning and talking about and really wanting the construction features. So the construction feature of, like, the whole building building the roller coaster, I was saying from day one that Giants missed the ball, because what they really should have done is made all of the new farmhouses on Silver Run should have all been construction projects. That's how they should have done it, so that you can build your own stuff. You can place down a construction site, and they're doing it exactly the way I suggested back in the day. So, good job, Giants. You stole my idea. I said that there's to do, like, you're gonna place down a construction site. It's gonna be really cheap to place down the construction site, and then you're gonna have to deliver wood and beams and planks and trees and metal and whatever other things you want to that construction site, and over time it'll build you a house. But I really think they still, from what we've heard so far, is they're only going to be doing houses. And I think they're, again, missing the ball. We should be building houses, barns, silos, pastures, sheds, like lean-tos, coverings, fences. All of those things should be construction projects that you can spend time getting into the forestry side of things, because they want people to do that stuff and be able to build all those things. And the fact that they're getting part of the way there is good, because that means that the logic is going to be in the base game, and the modding community can take over and finish what they started. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about being able to, as a modder, maybe create my own buildable building or buildings. But, like, repairing an old grain mill, building a stupid wagon, and also they're opening another piano factory piano factory location in both Riverbend Springs and the Hutampanai. They're opening those things. Yay, that's super useless. You don't get to use the wagon. You don't get to drive the wagon. You don't get to use the piano. You don't get to do the grain mill other than it being a community project that you have to complete because Old Man Willie says that you should. Like, that's cool. Don't get me wrong, I'll do it, but there's a lack of replayability. And I think that's what they're missing. Is that I want those kind of construction projects all the time. I don't want to just do it once and that's it. Like, I build my farmhouse and, oh great, I built my farmhouse. Good, I'm done. No, I want to build my whole farm. Every building on the farm should be a construction project. So that I can slowly build up over time and build my whole farm and know that I put my gameplay, blood, sweat, and tears into building that farm. Right? Who cares about a piano? It serves no purpose. Who cares about a fancy wagon cart on a 3-story building? Who cares? It doesn't serve any purpose. There's no, from what we know, there's no reusable purpose. It doesn't help your farm or the act of farming in any way. And to me, that is the miss. And it's still the miss. And I can't believe that they didn't bank on that, right? I just think it's boring. And that whole conversation is why I can't be a Giants partner. Somebody was asking me on my Discord, like, hey, do you have a partner ID? And I'm like, nope. It's probably not going to ever happen. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sending me that message, Rusty. Welcome in, Jake J. Meister. Welcome in. How's it going? This is going to be over 32,000, so I think we can place our last couple rows, then go to sleep and go the next day and see what happens to these coffee vines. I really don't know what's going to happen. Select your vehicle. Go to construction mode. Production. Orchards. Yada. Okay. One. Whoops. Not enough money. How long until there's enough money? I just want to finish off this little piece right here so I can finish my field. It feels undone, unfinished. Yes, auto drive to the win. All right, well, I guess that's all we're getting done today. But to be frank, that is a significant amount, and we have a good path around the field. So I think we've done good. Let's finish off our dirt road. Then we're going to go to sleep and see what happens, because I don't know what's going to happen. Again, I've tested it, but it was like 3 weeks ago when I tested it, and then I've deleted the save game since then, so I don't know what's going to happen here. Like, I don't know what the coffee beans are going to look like when they're grown. I really don't know. Ronnie, thank you so much for the super chat. You are the reliable man with the super chats. You always jump in with a small super chat. And I love that. I take that, Ronnie, as a thank you from you, maybe, and your brother to me that you enjoy my content. And that means a lot. So thank you very much, sir. Go. And then we're going to do this crossroad here. Gotta focus. Sorry. Hold on. Gotta focus with my paintbrush. I'm not very good with the paintbrush. Alright. Alright, so we're gonna leave the tractor there. We're gonna run back and we're gonna save. But thank you very much to Ronnie. Hashtag for Ronnie in the chat. We're probably gonna need to fertilize this field again once we sleep. And look, we're making more money with our thing. That guy's going to keep running even though we sleep. And let's... There we go. And sleep. What's going to happen? I don't know. Great demand to sell everything. Wonder for what? I wonder what the great demand to sell everything's for. So, our sugarcane's growing again. Awesome. Our new wheat crop is growing again. It needs to be fertilized. That's great. Our grass field growing again. The grass field we cut last time also growing again. We'll run over to our new crops. And this grass is growing again. We can cut that later. And now, if you look, there's like grass in between, grass and weeds and stuff like that in between the coffee leaves, coffee things. So let's see if our cultivator works. I don't know if it will, but I hope it will. And the ground that I already cultivated, it grew weeds anyways, so that first cultivation pass didn't do any good at all. Alright, that didn't do much. These roads are too... I made my little road in the middle. I thought I was making it really big, but I even made it too small to turn around with a tractor. To be fair though, I am using like a full-size tractor here and not a little vineyard tractor. So that's kind of to be expected. Okay, let's do this. Okay, getting out in the middle of the road doesn't work because I end up in the vine. Okay. We're going to go ahead and modify this one right here and go to 20 discs, see what happens. Customize, yes. Now, is this the one I edited? Nope. See, it's only cultivating the stuff. It's not cultivating the rows. It's only cultivating around it. The parts that's not the vines. Ronnie asked, did I like the 379 that came out today? The who? I mean, my mod didn't come out today, so I wasn't even looking. Something came out today? Let's look. I don't know. Oh. This looks kind of a little bit like the one that Rusty really likes. Which is the I forget which one's it's called, Rusty. It looks a lot like this, but it's like and it has a weird name. But no, I don't like it. I am looking, so one of the few things I'm looking forward to for FS25, other than the features, is I am looking forward to cultivated, growing. Oh, it is marked as cultivated, even though it didn't actually cultivate anything. But I did the second row too, and it didn't cultivate that. Whoops. Whoops. That one's not marked as cultivated. I don't know. Seriously? What is up with this crop? The Roadrunner, thank you. The Roadrunner Plus Plus, yeah. The Roadrunner, it looks very similar to the Roadrunner, and I believe the Roadrunner is probably modeled after the same thing. I'm looking for this. And I know, and from what I've seen, the new game is going to have an old school, old-ish looking cab over. I'm a big fan of cab overs. I don't know why, but I am. I'm a big fan of cab overs. I prefer cab over trucks than I do to standard American trucks. So, yeah, that's whatever. Let's get over in our field and check out. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Like, am I supposed to do anything? Like, am I supposed to mulch? Do I have to mulch before I can cultivate? I thought I tried the mulcher. Let's get the mulcher check. I don't remember. It's been so long since I tested. I really shouldn't have destroyed that save. So this is a mulcher. We did this in back attach. By. Yes. And what we really should do is buy another tractor. Yeah, the International S1800 is probably my only American truck that I like. And the reason for it is less than obvious. But the only reason I like the S1800 is that it is it's a short nose, which means it has a better turning radius. And for me, the turning radius is all that matters. Yeah, see, the mulching affects outside the rows, but doesn't affect inside the rows at all. So maybe I only have to cultivate after I harvest or something? See, it's like none of this stuff is working. If it's anything like grape, you don't have to do it in the fall of the year after harvest. Yeah, so with olives, that's true. Olives, you don't have to do anything until after harvest. Grapes, you do. Grapes, you have to mulch and cultivate before harvest. It has to be done before harvest to get the full yield bonus. But coffee, no idea. It says growth stage 4 out of 6, fertilized 50%. So I guess all I can really do is fertilize. So let's fertilize. Let's go fertilize our massive coffee plantation. And I'm probably going to paint a little bit of a dirt skirt, whatever that's called, around the coffee vines, because you're kind of running over the edge when you cultivate, and it's actually digging into the grass, and that's annoying, so I'm not gonna do that. So okay, yeah, there's specific times, but I'd have to, you know what I'll do is, I mean, we could look if you want. I mean, we can look. Let's go look. Why not? Let's go look. This is how you find out if anyone is curious. You go into your map. In the map, you find your map file. You find your XML file that defines your survivals for me. And you define your fill types. And then you find coffee. Oops. That's not what I did. Fruit types. You click this. Oh. Fruit type wheat. I'm going to scroll down to coffee. Coffee. Cultivation. Needs seeding, false. Allows seeding, false. Aligns to sun. State 1, 2, 3. State 1, 3, 5. 11. 7 and 11. So there's obvious states where you're going to need cultivation. I think that's what that means. If I compare that to grapes, see how it says state 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 18, 14? It needs cultivation in those states. There's a harvest transition where there's the weed state for when you harvest, mid harvest and growth state for coffee. Same thing. It's almost copied directly from the grapes. Let's compare it to olives. Yeah, it's like, look at it. It's copied exactly from olives. So we used to have to do whatever we need for olives. Withered state 14, number of growth state 7, growth state time a long time. Reset spray requires lime, true. Oh, it does require lime. Okay. Well, that means we should be able to lime it too. Cool. All right, well, let's fertilize it first. No, I did not watch the Farm Sim show. That's not on my list of things to watch. No offense to DJ or anything. I just don't have time to watch that alongside everything else. And it's so much talk that I don't really get very much from it. But I'm sure as part of being Giants partners, and we're only 2 weeks away, there's more news to show. The one that they have been talking about, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's actually something I'm a little bit excited about because it's a cool feature. Is by the way, this is the best way to do fertilizing for vines. Don't get a sprayer. That takes time and effort. Just use something like this. Anyways, we're gonna have grazing. So they released the Farm Sim magazine early. It came out a couple days early for whatever reason. No one knows why. But in the Farm Sim magazine, if you translate the German, because it's only in German, in the magazine, it actually talks about the fact that pastures will allow grazing. So they're going to have grazing. And not only are they going to have grazing, but they're going to have seasonal grazing, which means the grazing only works in the spring, summer, and fall. And you have to bring your animals in for the winter and be able to feed them during the winter. So not only is they going to have grazing, but they're going to have a mechanic for moving animals. Whether that requires a horse trailer or another mechanic, we don't know. I'm kind of hoping for another mechanic, but you never know. But they will have grazing, which I think is pretty cool. And apparently they can graze on any grass field, so whether it's regular grass or meadow. Whether it works like Maize Plus, or the animal grazing mod, where it had to be a certain type of grass, and you actually see the height of the grass go down or not over time, is still to be determined. But I think that's a little bit more realism for animals, cows grazing, sheep, whatever, or goats or oxen, whatever we're getting in the new game. I think grazing is a good thing, personally. It just brings a little bit more realism into the game that I think that a lot of us are wanting from that side of the game. So from, the animal system is a lot of people want more realism. With baby animals coming to the base game, we're going to start getting some of that. With different types of animals, like goats and whatever other animals they announced, I don't even remember. We're going to be getting a little bit more of that, which is great. I'm happy to see that. I'm excited to see that. You're on a four-wheeler and herd the cows to the barn? Yeah. Speaking of four-wheelers, if they actually add four-wheelers to the game, I've got a great mod for four-wheelers. There's this company it's a European company. I forget the name of it. I'll post it in my Discord. But they make a flail mower that is self-powered. So it has its own engine to power the flails. And it can be towed by a car, a tractor, a UTV, an ATV, whatever. And you can use that for mowing. And it's supposed to be a really good flail mower. But the cool thing is it's self-powered. So it has its own motor for powering the flails, which is kind of cool. Which means that you can flail mow a field of some kind with an ATV or a UTV, which is pretty cool. So I don't know if that's ever coming to the game, but I think it will be a cool addition to the game, especially considering how many UTVs are in the game. There's 2 or 3 of them now. And then people always bring ATVs to the game. That's a pretty common mod that gets created, is ATVs. 4-wheelers. Or 3-wheelers, for that matter. Alright, well, I've fertilized. Is the fertilization showing up? Oh, it is. Fertilization is showing up. Awesome. Well, at least the fertilization is showing up. Does the needs lime? Oh, it looks like it does need is showing up as needs lime. That's interesting. If I turn off fertilize, the whole thing shows needs lime? It doesn't. Basically, the center of the field isn't showing that it needs lime, just the outskirts. So it doesn't look like the lime is working for coffee. Well, that's fine. I just need to figure out what I need to do to cultivate, and it's probably going to be after I harvest. So we'll do that in a month or two. Because remember, we are on the fast growth, so these are going to grow really fast. They don't appear to have very much growth change. The state doesn't change very much, but they are fast growth. Nice. And because this is a grass field, we can actually also... Oh, look at that. I spaced it out pretty well. It's actually almost a perfect 18 meters. So you can see my lines for how wide I am. My path around the outside is around 18 meters. Roughly. I'll fertilize my grass, and then maybe we'll paint that kind of protective dirt skirt around too. To fix this kind of stuff. Like that right there, that's like an eyesore. Right? Like I kind of just want to do this. Where is it? Construction. I kind of just want to do this. Painting. I just want to do this. So, like the crop, when I slightly overlap the edge with my mower or with my cultivator when it comes time to cultivate, that I'm not like affecting, I'm not hurting the grass. So we're just going to leave a little slight border around things. We're going to go into the crop, because if there's a ground state change within the crop, it'll override what I'm painting down here. Or it should. Look at that. There's no way I'm getting a mower in there to get that grass. It's much too close. Get a little bit of separation between our coffee beans and our crop. There we go. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I've never done coffee before. I mean, I did it on my testing map, which is on the same field, but I didn't really get that far into it. So I don't know. Oh, I did get a confirmation, by the way, on another Discord that I'm a member of. The content creator for that Discord actually does have Giant's ear, and they do listen to him. And he was able to ask a question for me, and that question was, will swathing be base game? And so, as you guys know, the MacDon pack is a DLC. So the new MacDon machinery will be a DLC, which means, as always, if it's a DLC, it's locked behind DRM encoding, blah, 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 blah. So you can't actually edit it. So you won't see mods made, except for me, because I know how to ninja that stuff. You won't see people modding the MacDon equipment, right? Because it's in a DLC, and technically they can't get access to it, right? So, or most people don't know how I do it, but I can do it. Anyways. But because the MacDon equipment is in the DLC, I was worried that not only would the MacDon equipment be in the DLC, but swathing would also be part of the DLC. Kind of like the winch was part of the Platinum expansion, and you couldn't use the winch on a modded vehicle unless you had the Platinum expansion enabled. And then you have that stupid thing we've talked about before, where if you don't, you can't actually require the Platinum expansion or any DLC as a dependency. It's against Giant's policy. So if you can't require it as a dependency, but if you actually have it kind of as a dependency, like you have make something that's a winch and it won't work without the DLC, you can't actually tell people that. You just have to make it not work. Which, it just doesn't work at all if you don't have the DLC. Which I think is the dumbest thing ever. Oh. Oh. But, you know, Giants can do whatever they want, right? But anyways, I was asking if swathing as a whole, which would include swathable crops, which would include the swathing specialization, which will inevitably be there for other modders to make their own swathers, like BC Bueller, which was, he had an interview in that magazine from what I heard. I haven't seen it, I don't speak German, but from what I've heard, BC Bueller actually had an interview in that Farm Sim magazine that was released early. But anyways, yeah, exactly, so they can make money. But anyways, yes, swathing will be in the base game so that, and the reason they did it is to unlock swathable crops and swathing to the modding community, which is nice. They actually did something right for once. But yes, so we will be able to have our own swathers, our own swathing equipment, our own swathable, be able to create swathable crops. We'll be able to configure our maps that the modding community will make with swathable crops that will work with the MacDon equipment, but also work with any third-party swathers like BC Bueller swathers, which I think is super cool. So I'm glad that they're doing it that way and not doing more of this DRM stuff, but it's a bummer that the MacDon stuff is going to be locked behind a DRM, but whatever. And for anyone who wasn't keeping track, that also means the CR10, the gold CR10, is also going to be behind the DLC DRM thing, which is a bummer. But some of the equipment that we got from, think of all the equipment, I'm actually looking forward to it. Yeah, they gotta do some things, exactly, PCS. They gotta do some things for the modders, or else the modders would stop. But the thing is that this was a discussion that happened in my Discord earlier, so if you're not in this Discord, feel free to join. But this was a discussion we were having, and there's actually a bunch of modders who, over the course of FS22, have quit modding because of Giants' weird policies, or, in my mind, not good or bad policies around modders, who've actually quit modding because they couldn't stand to deal with Giants' stupid policies anymore. That's a bummer, right? You know, as someone who likes mods and who likes seeing what other modders come up with, to lose people from the modding community over something that's in 100% fixable. They just don't want to put the effort into fixing it. That's a bummer. So I hope that they start doing more things for the modding community. We'll see. You know, I'm going to be trying to make mods from day one. I'm going to be trying to get all of my mods re-released in Farm Sim 25 as soon as they can be possibly re-released in 25. But, you know, if they're going to keep doing the same stuff they're doing now, it's just like, you're going to see a lot of frustration from me. I mean, I submitted an update for the VPW mod and for the BioBaler Pro, what, 3 weeks ago? A month ago? Like, the day after it got released, I submitted an update to fix a couple things. They're still sitting pending. They're still waiting. They found a one missing translation, and suddenly I'm at the back of the line. This whole back of the line bullshit is so dumb. Yep, exactly, PCS. It's a bit... we have to remember that while everyone likes free stuff, Giants is a software company, right? Or a gaming company, or whatever you want to call it. Their goal is to make money. Their goal is not to make the modding community happy. They could care less. So, and you see that you can follow their decisions, the decisions they've made, and you can see the decisions are based on money. You can see it, which is unfortunate. You know, the DLCs we've gotten, the additional content they've added, you can see that people are paying for it. That's why we don't just get a DLC, we get an Oxbow DLC, you know, where all the equipment is paid for, sure, by Oxbow for them to get them in the game. It's, yeah, part of it, you know. I don't care. I'm not making any money, but they might be. And then even though they have policies and they have ways of doing things, we still see broken stuff get released. And stuff that just doesn't work at all released, for that matter. Not just broken, but like game crashing. Still gets released all the time. So we'll see what happens. I've read somewhere that like the number of mods for FS22 that got released on ModHub was like equal to or greater than all of the mods for previous game versions combined. And I hope we can do that again for 425. I think that would be a pretty cool, like, achievement, or whatever you want to call it, to be able to actually break that record yet again. That would be pretty awesome. I needed to fertilize this field, right? Yeah. Well, that's going to be it for me tonight. I'm just going to finish off fertilizing this field. Don't forget, next week, and really the only thing left on this series that I want to do are two things. Number one, I want to be able to harvest that coffee field. The vines that we just planted, I want to harvest them at least once. And I want to make coffee to sell. So we have to buy the coffee production, buy the coffee roaster, and then be able to go through the process for the production and make coffee to sell it. That's kind of my goal for the next episode. And whether or not we continue on this map, who knows? We might, you know, do what Rusty does and come back to it every once in a while, even though the new version of the game is out. But yeah, we'll finish up And we'll harvest our coffee, and you guys can see the wonderfully crazy, and that's putting it lightly, coffee harvesting machine that should be legit 80s compatible. So we'll check that out. And no, I haven't checked out the new Courseplay yet. I was working all day. I haven't had a chance to check it out. So I literally like switched from my work computer to my gaming computer. Started the stream. So I didn't have any time to check out the new Courseplay, but I will, maybe. I do have an episode of Calmlands recorded. I have to finish editing it, and then the next episode past that is actually almost done recording. I'm hoping to get that out before 25 comes out. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish Calmlands before 25 comes out. Just because there's at least one more whole episode with a significant amount of harvesting to do. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it before 25. We'll see, maybe. Maybe. Oh, yeah. Oh, actually, for anyone who's still here, you can help me decide. When 25 comes out, which mod do you want to be the first mod that I submit to ModHub? Which one? I think the Fieldwork Fill Station, honestly, is going to be the first mod I submit to ModHub. I want to get that thing in there as soon as possible. That's my vote. But what do you guys think? Is there any of the other mods that I've made that you want to be my first mod? Fill Station? I gotta finish it. It's not done yet. There's one more thing I wanted to do with the fill station that I haven't been able to do. I don't know how to do it. But the current texture for the rusty version of the fill station, like the texture that it uses, is has like a rusty green color to it, and I want to make it colorable so that you can color the paint underneath the rust, if that makes any sense. Oh, sweet, Ronnie. Thank you very much. And it looks like Old Man Gaming 5150 got a free membership from Ronnie. Hashtag in the chat for Ronnie for always supporting the channel. Thank you so much, sir. And we've fertilized this field. I think we might have time to fertilize our other field too. And welcome to the membership, Old Man Gaming. If you are here in chat, don't forget to say hi. If you're lurking, that's totally cool too. This bothers me that the sugarcane doesn't support fertilizer. That bothers me. Interesting. Why does sugarcane not support fertilizer? It's just weird. I could fix it, I guess, but I don't care. I mean, it supports fertilizing on other maps, so I know it works somewhere, just not on my map. But look at that. Look at that. If we zoom out, look at that cool coffee plantation down there on the hill. Doesn't that look awesome? That looks so cool. I wish I could have had enough money to finish it off, but I guess we can do that next time. Is this going to fertilize? Oh, look, it is. Never mind. It accepts fertilizer. You're all about the VPW? Yeah. The VPW though, so PCS, I agree. I think everyone's going to be all about the VPW. But when I release the VPW for 25, I have to update it to whatever balers are in 25. And that takes time. It takes me 4 or 5 hours per baler to add them to the VPW with all of the coding and testing and all of that kind of stuff. It takes me 4 to 5 hours to add all the customizations I'm adding in. It takes me 6 or 7 hours for every forage wagon. So VPW can be done, and it will be done for 25. But to make sure I'm working with all the new balers, I have to do it all over again, essentially. I have to start from scratch. For the set of balers that are in 25. So we will get it done. It's just going to take some time. So that's not one I can get done. Like, I can't be submitting that one day one. But the field work fill station, I could potentially have ready to submit for day one. But I don't know the rules yet. Like, they haven't told the modders the rules. So, like, I don't know if on release day they're also going to be releasing a version of the testing toolkit. I don't know if they're going to have new versions, component versions. I don't know what the rules for the models are going to be. I don't know if they're changing the rules for the models. So I can get everything done except for the last little bit, and then hope that I did as much as I could to get something submitted on day one. But again, I wish that information would come out early so that I can hit the ground running and be one of the first couple mods that gets released, which is my goal. Because I've had the model ready for a while. I've been sitting on it for almost a year now, and it's a custom model, so it'll be great to have something on ModHub from day one. And maybe I can get in that top 10 list or the top mods list a lot higher than I got in before. I'm also planning on including, if I can, I'm also planning on including a couple new versions, maybe even a sell point. I'm not sure about the sell point, but I might include a sell point in there with it also. So we'll see what happens. Am I done? I'm done. So we fertilize this. We fertilize this grass here. It should only take us a minute. That grass didn't look like it got fertilized at all. What do you mean, Rusty? Do you mean permanently lower the prices of the purchase price of in-game equipment? Or do you mean like lowering it for yourself? Lowering it across the board? Or creating a mod that has a lower price? Yeah. Totally. Actually, this doesn't need fertilizing at all. I'm not even gonna bother. Yes. So, and I can show you real quick, Rusty, if you want to see. So, to answer Rusty's question, we will go here. I'm going to tab over to this guy. I'm going to work on the lime a little bit. And so I'll show you. So Rusty, to answer Rusty's question, if we come in here and we just look at a piece of equipment, Let's look at, um, I don't know, the Ford 622. This is the Ford 622. And right here, see where it says price 1500? That's the price. That's how much it costs. I could change this to 1500 instead of 15,000. And I hit save, and suddenly the price that item in the store is less. That's how it works. So I could, and I didn't, but I could make the VPW stuff all $1 if I wanted to. But I have a feeling that Giants would block me on that because they would say that I'm making it not realistic. One thing I would like to do, and if I can figure it out, I'm going to try to, is I want to get a couple items in the VPW. If I can set them up so they get sold, damaged, and or worn, like the paint worn down or like 50% damaged. If I can have them in the mod sold from the store at a discounted price because they're damaged, so the base price is a lot lower. I'd love to include a couple older style balers or forage wagons or whatever that are used but cheaper because they're used. I would like to do that if I could figure that out. I don't know if I can figure that out, but you know, I would like to try. What was I doing? Oh, this. So we just go here. Delete, 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 delete. This is there. This dude is like in my way. This is how easy it is to update auto drive courses. I would too, Ronnie. And that's the thing is, like, it's up to the modding community to create that type of equipment. It's up to them to create that type of equipment. I don't have the skills to do it, but I would love to see more older equipment, more kind of worn down equipment, cheaper equipment. But a lot of the stuff, again, we're back to money, right? The reason that stuff isn't in the base game is because it doesn't make Giants any money. And that's why it's not in the base game. So, it is what it is. Hey, Brady, welcome in. Thanks for coming by. Unfortunately, that's it for me. I'm going to make some more money by selling lime until probably the end of the day. And I'll run out the rest of today, and then we'll start next time in January, maybe. Maybe I'll skip to February, whatever, until the first coffee harvest is ready. So next time we'll harvest some coffee. Yeah, I agree. I hope people, like the people on your list and other people, especially map makers, continue to make this stuff. And I hope that people like the guy who made this, you know, gets it onto ModHub for all platforms. We need more cab over stuff. We need more cool vehicles like this. But unfortunately, that's going to be it for me today. I want to say thank you for everyone for coming in. We've had a lot of views, a lot of people in chats. We got, I think, quite a few people in there. I didn't see how many likes we got. How many likes we got? I don't have it open. Got like 11 likes. That's awesome. It's pretty cool for a no-name map that no one cares about. But thanks for being here. Thanks for joining. And next week, we'll try to finish this up. And between now and then, hopefully I'll get out a video for comments. Until next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.